Hello, welcome to Songs of One Breath. Welcome if you've been before, and welcome if it's your first time. I began with this beautiful Sanskrit chant, which really takes us to the movement of the breath, in and out. I might just sing it a couple more times while you really put your attention in that movement of the breath, feeling the in-breath and the out-breath, feeling the nature of the breath. Just in the natural rhythm of your own breath, breathing in Om Hum and breathing out So Hum. Breathing in Om Hum, breathing out So Hum. And allowing those words in Sanskrit to draw our attention with the breathing, following the in-breath, Om Hum, as it drops deep into the body, and then turns around, and then following the out-breath, the exhalation, So Hum, returning to the cosmos. And in the quotation from Murshid Samuel Lewis that I'm working with today, he says, every exhalation sends something out, and every inhalation draws something in. So let's just be aware of that as we watch the breath coming in and going out. What are we sending out on the out-breath? What are we drawing in on the in-breath? And how can we keep our attention on the breath? Coming in, turning around, going out, turning around, coming in again. This beautiful anchor which underpins our whole life. We can return to it at any point. Just noticing and remembering, oh yes, the breath coming in, the breath going out. Every exhalation sending something out. Maybe some longing, some desire. Every inhalation bringing something in, drawing to us what we need. That which is expelled carries a message as a flying dove going upwards. Following the out-breath as a flying dove going upwards, carrying a message. What message is on your breath in this moment? And the inhalation, drawing something in. Maybe drawing in an answer to your message, drawing in guidance, drawing in what's needed at this time. Just as we draw in the breath, the oxygen, the gases that we need for life. And also, if we can be aware of it, drawing in prana, the stuff of life that travels on the breath. The answer to all our needs. Every exhalation sends something out, carrying a message as a flying dove going upwards. Every inhalation, drawing something in. So today's reading is about concentration and the power of the mind mesh. So the mind mesh is this mesh of thoughts, the small self, the personality which gets in the way of our direct communication, presence in the holy presence, connection with the one breath. And the purpose of our practice is to develop our concentration so that we can keep sending these breaths like flying doves with messages flying upwards. And Murshid Sam says, as soon as another thought is received into the mind, it impedes the upward journey of that breath message. So just returning again to the movement of the breath. Every exhalation sending out a message, every inhalation bringing something in. And imagine the power of that focused and concentrated out-breath that manages to penetrate the mind mesh and meet the source of all life. But in fact, what often happens is that other thoughts come into our mind, distractions, impressions, and they just impede the upward journey of that message we were sending on the breath. When any act, thought, speech or desire strikes the mind mesh, it is propelled downwards towards the earth plane and brings with it the results of a movement which is at the same time personal and individual but also cosmic, in the sense that the whole sphere endeavours to keep its balance and sends back the compensatory vibrations to those sent out by us. So with awareness of what is travelling on our breath right now, it's going to be met by the mind mesh and reflected back to us. And maybe it's a breath of love and a breath of peace and a breath of longing and desire. Maybe it's a breath of fear. Maybe it's a breath of confusion. These are all natural human characteristics, potentialities. So just watching your breath in this moment. What qualities are traveling on your breath right now? What is the nature of your breath? If your thoughts are distracted, moving away from the movement of the breath, you can just come back, Om, Hum, breathing in, drawing in prana, life force, oxygen, and So Hum, breathing out, sending the message of the breath like a dove flying upwards. So Murshid Sam says that in order to overcome this reflection of the mind mesh, sending back these vibrations to us, we practice Fikr in some form. So this is Fikr or Darood, is placing the sacred phrase upon the breath. A thought accompanied by divine breath can automatically arise through the meshes of the mental net and pass through to the Arsh, the throne of God. So when a thought is accompanied by a divine breath, by a sacred phrase travelling on the breath, it can automatically rise through the meshes of the mental net and pass through to the Arsh, the throne of God. That is to say, the automatic wish or longing of the average person can rise no higher than the thought or will behind it. But for the spiritual person whose thought and desire are accompanied by Darood, the sacred phrase upon the breath, these automatically rise above the mental world into the empyrean, unless another thought deliberately interferes. And practice of concentration with Fikr perfects this process. So here we are practicing, breathing in Om Hum, breathing out So Hum. This breath travelling with the sacred phrase through the mesh of the mind, the mental net, to the divine. So, when Murshid Sam refers to Darood, often he refers to the phrase towards the one. This phrase in English, which acts as a sacred phrase when we let it travel on the breath, guiding our breath towards unity as we breathe in towards the one and breathe out towards the one. And again, we can be aware of all of our longings, desires, needs as we're breathing towards the one. Keeping this focus on the divine breath. Allowing our breath to travel through the mind mesh beyond to the throne of God. So I'm going to sing for a little, and you can sing with me, or you can just keep breathing in towards the one, breathing out towards the one. Towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, united with all, united with the one, united with all, united with the one. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, united with all, united with the one, united with all, united with the one. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, united with all, united with the one, united with all, united with the one. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. So let's breathe those words. Towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, towards the one, united with all, united with the one, united with all, united with the one. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La So keeping that phrase on the breath, breathing in towards the one, breathing into the core of our being, to the dot at the very center of all that we are, bringing everything into unity. And breathing out towards the one, this ever-expanding sphere, moving towards unity with all that is. And as you keep that awareness and concentration on the breath, I'm going to read again these words from Hazrat Inayat Khan and Murshid Sam, just this concentration on the power of breath and thought. Hazrat Inayat Khan says, thought draws the line of fate. Thought draws the line of fate. The more able we are to keep our concentration one-pointed and to let that travel on the breath, the more we have access through the mind mesh directly to the source. And Samuel Lewis, Murshid Sam, says, this is true not only in prayer, but in all things. Every exhalation sends something out, and every inhalation draws something in. That which is expelled carries a message as a flying dove going upwards. As soon as another thought is received into the mind, it impedes the upward journey of that breath message. When any act, thought, speech, or desire strikes the mind mesh, it is propelled downwards towards the earth plane and brings with it the results of a movement which is at the same time personal and individual and also cosmic, in the sense that the whole sphere endeavours to keep its balance and sends back the compensatory vibrations to those sent out by us. To overcome this action, Fikr is practiced in some form. So remember, Fikr is this breathing of a sacred phrase. Like now we're breathing in towards the one and breathing out towards the one. In daily Fikr or Darood, when a thought is accompanied by a divine breath, it can automatically arise through the meshes of the mental net and pass through Djabrut to the Arsh, the throne of God. That is to say, the automatic wish of the average person can rise no higher than the thought or will behind it. But for the spiritual person, the initiate, whose thought and desire are accompanied by Darood, by the sacred breath, these automatically rise above the mental world into the empyrean, unless another thought deliberately interferes. Practice of concentration with Fikr perfects this process. So we can see how so much of spiritual practice is aimed at perfecting the practice of concentration, being able to stay with the breathing, breathing in a sacred phrase, breathing out a sacred phrase. Having control over the mind to be able to choose when we change our thought or our focus or our concentration. Of course, always having compassion and understanding for our humanity, which means that so often we get distracted but we know we can return. We know we can return to the sacred breath. So let's spend a few more moments chanting together the Om, Hum, So, Hum. And if you prefer, you can just keep breathing in toward the one, or breathing in Om, Hum, breathing out towards the one, or breathing out So, Hum. And noticing what's being carried on the breath, what's being expelled, what's being drawn in. Om Hum, Om Hum So Hum, Om Hum So Hum, Om Hum So Hum, Om So So thank you for joining me on Songs of One Breath, and I encourage you to keep with compassion coming back to your breath as many times as you can remember to, until we meet again.